Okay, we are live on Garblag Games, and tonight you can't see us yet. What you can see is the cover to Grimdark, a dark fantasy role-playing game from Garblag Games. A nice funky sword. Let me turn that off, and you can see us. There we go. There's Ben and myself. Hello, welcome to Garblag Games. We are here tonight to have a bit of an impromptu chat about game design, world building, and in particular the Grimdark RPG, which we released last free RPG day, which was in 2019, and it's kind of a little idea of mine that Ben has been grilling me on recently and looking to sort of flesh out into weird and wonderful settings, which Ben is very good at. His name is World Builder on our Discord for a reason. Thanks for joining me, Ben. How is the Isle of Wight tonight? Yeah? Okay. Ooh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, we had lambing round the corner. Lots of fun. Not quite. Not yet. Oh, that's a shame. Cool. Anyway, so what we'll do is we will chat about Grimdark. I'll do a little bit of a rundown of what it is, and then we can go into a bit of a conversation about how it came about, what we want to do with it, stuff about, Kickstarters in the future. Yes, D12 love. Woohoo! And if I'm looking down, that's just because I'm looking for comments on the stream. So if you are watching and you want to ask us a question, say hello, please do, and I will interrupt Ben rudely and say hello back and wave at you. Something like that. Cool. Okay, so Grimdark is as Ben mentioned, D12s. I love D12s. I think they're the best die. They roll so well. They're divisible by many numbers. There's so many things to love about 12-sided dice. Absolutely. But he gets to use it twice. Hit points and damage. Yeah. So he's lucky. It is a good dice. I mean, I particularly like the fact that it rolls well, but not too far. The D20, I always feel, can, yeah, go off the table, whereas, your D8s don't really roll properly, do they? And D4, you just kind of flop it out on the table. Oh, sorry. I don't, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's got to be on the table. Always on the table. So I was having a chat with a few people. Someone had mentioned 12-sided dice on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I love 12-sided dice. I really want to make a game with 12-sided dice. And we're playing a lot of percentile systems and D20 games. And I thought I wanted to do a sort of dice pool mechanic with lots of 12-sided dice, many. Yeah, bucket o dice. I cannot hear Ben over here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go. That's my error. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Ben has been saying very, insightful things. However, I didn't want you to hear it, so I've
So I've
turned.
been muted this whole time.
Yeah, sorry. So, do
Little
you want to just
nuggets of
briefly
wisdom.
recap the comments that you've made?
Wow. Liking dice pools. Dice pools are good.
Yes,
Baby cows. We have baby cows on the Isle of Wight.
and we have lambs.
Um,
Yeah,
Pete has a fetish for D12s.
I do.
Barbarians get to use them twice. No one else ever uses them.
It's going
And
to be
dice
really
flop around
interesting to
everywhere.
see that conversation from just one side because
Yeah.
you prompted a lot of those, and I just said, yeah, they get to use it twice, once for hit points, once for damage, and I won't hear the other side. So apologies, everybody. As usual, Garblag Games, we're not in the rhythm of live broadcasting quite yet. We give it a go
What
every
kind
now
of
and then.
shonky outfit is this?
Oh, yeah, great stuff. Egil, hopefully now you can hear Ben. So please do let us know. Thank you, Egil, for giving us that little bit of info. We've got a like already on the video. Thank you very much. So yeah, I was having a conversation about D12s, and I remembered Advanced Hero Quest, and that was a game that used it had single rolls of D12s, but it had dice pools for damage. And I thought, oh, I like this idea of dice pools. So I wanted to make a game where there's like a fixed number to roll on a pool of dice, fairly standard. But your skill would give you could either see it as reduce your difficulty or add to your roll, whichever way you want to look at it. Some people like to stack it all onto the number you're aiming for, and some people like to add it to the roll to beat the number. Either way, it's the same thing. So you need to get a 9+ for a success, and your stat will have like 3 or 4. You roll 3 or 4 dice, 9 up, each one's a success, that kind of thing. So that was kind of the genesis. But then I was thinking, what I need to kind of put some sort of genre or style or setting. Not, I didn't want to go fully into a setting. I wanted to just be a bit more genre. And we've been playing a lot of Warhammer, Zweihander, and I remembered all those wonderful cartoons such as Thundercats, Thunder, He-Man, Visionaries, which I was one of my favourites.
I did love Visionaries.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How
Nice with
many
a
of the little
magical
chants
light.
could you still remember?
Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'll just embarrass myself. But also like throwing in things like Conan, Red Sonja, Hawk the Slayer.
Legend.
Oh yes, oh yes, that bow. Um, yeah, so it was kind of a mash all that stuff together, and kind of come up with a game based on that. Um, yeah, I think that was really the genesis, and then it kind of fleshed out. And I tried to do a one pager. I thought let's just do one page for free RPG day, and then it turned into like 4, and then 8, and now I'm thinking right, I want to do like an A5 booklet stapled like the Mothership book, little booklet,
Zine
like a
size.
zine size, exactly. And it's going to hopefully sometime soon because I'm writing it at the moment and I've done a fair bit of it.
No, you're going to have to repeat that because you've gone all croaky for me.
I have done quite a bit of it, and
Yeah.
I'm putting it together in layout at the moment. So our wonderful patrons, who I should briefly segue into our usual. Please go and check out all our social media. There will be links below after the live broadcast, but we've got Facebook, Twitter, Insta, all that stuff. We've got a Discord where we often are chatting and talking to people, especially about our upcoming event, Garcon, which is a mini-con
Yes,
in St.
the
Albans.
convention.
Yes, which is going to be great. Ben, what games are you running?
I am at present running Zweihander and what was the other one I'm doing? Starfinder. No, Grimmerspace. Grimmerspace 4 Starfinder.
Yes,
Because Grimmerspace isn't out yet. It's wonderful little Kickstarter. Loads of really, really good horror sci-fi stuff going on in there. And so the initial PDF for their first adventure, Abattoir 8, is out. And I play tested it on my players and it went down quite well. So I thought we might give that a crack.
Great.
It's a nice little game.
Excellent. We're going to have a whole other bunch of role-playing games going on. We've got Call of Cthulhu, Delta Green, Scum of Villainy, Firefly. I'm running an Alien game. We've got a few others. We've also got some board games. We've got Star Trek Ascendancy. We've got Arkham Horror card game. And then we've got some wargaming with Age of Sigmar. American Civil War on an 8x8 board. Yeah, it's going to be mental.
Big, I guess.
Yeah. And some other stuff. There's going to be a raffle, all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a really good day. I'm going to try and stream some of it on the channel so that we have a lot of friends in other countries around the world who are unable to come. So,
and it all goes to a very good cause as well, because all of the profits that are made from it are going directly to Diabetes UK, which I know is a cause very close to your heart and particularly relevant at the minute.
Yes. Yeah, Yeah, my nephew's got type 1 diabetes and we're trying to raise some money. So last year we raised over £100 from our patrons. Thank you very much. And that's gone off to Diabetes UK. So we had a great, a great bit of fundraising. And what I wanted to do this year is, instead of the little bits throughout the year, I wanted to do an event. So we're going to do the raffle. We have tickets, £2 a ticket, 6 for £10, and you can get a whole variety of freebies if you win. And we've got £30 digital PDF vouchers from Modifius and Grim and Perilous Games Studios. So we've got some really cool stuff for people to win. And I think we're going to do a bit of an international raffle element as well. I'm just figuring it out right now. But it's 25th of April, so we've got a bit of time to figure it out. All our tables are set up. We've got an Eventbrite page. So if you're in the UK or a nearby European country and wish to come, then please go and check it out. I've got a link below after the live broadcast. Also,
I think there was some talk about doing some experience-based prizes as well, wasn't there? Like it's a couple of online games or something.
Yeah. We'll have to have a think about that and figure it out properly before we declare anything.
But yes, prizes.
Fabulous prizes to be won. So that's pretty cool. Really looking forward to that, actually. I think it's going to be a great event. I know we've got potentially Egil is coming to see us, and Maurice is coming over from the Netherlands. And hopefully, I wonder if Patrick might come, but I'm not sure. So we've got people far and wide, and then a lot of local clubs. So we've got quite a few people coming, so it's going to be really cool. So we've got that. We then also have our Patreon. So our patrons get to come for free, so they don't have to pay the £5 entry fee. And we've got a code on our Patreon now for our Adventurer tier and above patrons to get a discount code for the convention. So that's one of the extra features they get, as well as behind the scenes videos, maps, adventures, and all kinds of other stuff that we do for you guys. My Alien RPG, for example, that we're coming up to the campaign, I'll be sharing a Google Docs link with our patrons for them to be able to get all their hands on all the material that I create for that adventure, which I'm really looking forward to. We shared our Mothership adventures and all that kind of stuff. So there's loads of freebies, extras for our patrons. So head over and check that out. There's some cool stuff, and I've been blogging a bit about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. And I'm going to do a bit more about how I think the talents and dice mechanics of that game should change. But anyway, we digress. We do. Yes. So Grimdark. Yes. So, I think the core thing about Grimdark that I wanted to make a bit different was how you made your characters, and I always liked the kind of life cycle. Like Traveller.
Yeah.
That's always a good. Like, let's have a few steps through and like successively build up your character. But at the same time, I didn't want it to be exhaustive and take forever and be massively complicated.
Well, sometimes you just want a short game that you can get into in the space of half an hour, 40 minutes, and then start playing.
Mm-hmm.
It can be quite draining when you're starting a new game, or if you've only got 1 or 2 hours to go. If you spend half that time creating characters,
Absolutely.
You run out.
Yeah.
So it's something where you can throw together a character in 5 or 10 minutes, play a quick game, and then either move on or come back to it and what have you, is a great idea.
Yeah. So the kind of there's, in effect, you make 5 roles, and that allows you to flesh out your character via a series of narrative sentences that help you as the player to also get an idea of your character.
And they're directly connected to modifiers to your attributes and stats, aren't they? So as you pick up one narrative hint, it comes with boosts to stats and skills and trappings and stuff like that you might need.
Yeah. So the 5 steps you roll for your origin, your source, your youth, your title, is what you're kind of known for, and then your cause now, because it's assumed that it's like you're all kind of heroic, old school heroic adventurers. And each of them completes a sentence. So when you roll for your origin, the sentence you're completing is, I was born dot dot dot, and then what you roll on the table finishes that sentence for you.
Under a darkened sky.
Exactly, or to rule a kingdom,
And they've got fabulous, dramatic sounding
to muck
sentences.
and toil.
I mean, even the one like "I'm a poor farmer" still sounds kind of epic.
Yeah,
I am an epically poor farmer.
That was the idea. I wanted them to sound kind of cool, and what I've actually been doing is fleshing them out. Because what I want to do is I realised 2d12 is even better than 1d12. It's twice as good, and you get 23 results. But you also get a bit of it's not quite a bell curve, but you get your distribution of results. So we can start to play with ones that are more common than others. And
so you could put To Rule a Kingdom right the way down there at number 1,
exactly.
And then you could put Muck and Toil in there at number 12. And...
Yeah, exactly. So I've been fleshing them out. And as you said, these kind of then go straight into giving you your stats. And you can buy equipment and groats. The money is called groats in this. I thought that'd be quite fun.
You love groats.
You love groats. And you have 6 attributes, and they're in pairs. So you've got your natural attributes, which are your vigor and guile. So your like physical capability, and then your sort of epically poor farmer, Leon. Hello, Leon. Welcome. Thank you for watching. Epically poor farmer. That is, yes. That's. I need to write that down. You have your. Oh, sorry, I just whacked my mic cable. If anyone just had an ear implosion, I apologise. You have your vigor and your guile. Then you have your magical attributes, and this is how you sort of where you get your power from in the world. Is it outside, external to you, or is it internal? Pat, hello Pat. I almost always prefer 2D something for just that reason. Oh yes.
Yeah, 1D can be a little bit. I don't want to say restrictive. Restrictive isn't the word I'm thinking of, but it's always limiting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like bosh. You haven't got that feel that you might. I also like the idea that it's rare that you'll get a high number, and a low.
Because I was rolling up Zweihander characters for the convention the other day, and I noticed the difference between the 2d10 to the 3d10 when you're rolling 3d10 to add to 25, and when you're rolling 2d10 to find random things. It gives you a lot more scope. Yeah, just having that extra dice in there.
No, absolutely. So for that reason, I wanted to expand. So sorry, I was talking about magical attributes.
You were.
You got your power, which is internal, and occult, which is the external. I wanted occult as a stat. I was thinking of you, Ben. I think it must have been. Yeah, exactly. And two can play at that game. The magical attributes, and then you've got your professional attributes, which are education and training. I really like in Traveller that you have that education.
And actually differentiating your education and training is a really, really good way of looking at things as well, because a lot of the kind of I can't use the words education or training now. I guess the life experiences that you build up that lead towards certain career paths tend to either come down to either education or training. Sometimes both, but usually you start out one way or the other when you're looking at either vocational or academic and stuff like that. So having that as 2 attributes works really well.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of split that book learning from physical muscle memory style development.
BTEX.
Yeah. So your craft prowess, which is actually your fighting skill, and tech, which are because I've in this kind of setting, I want there to be a hint of like lost ancient technology kind of thing, like, we found the star rifle, and it, that kind of thing. So there's a tech skill, but that's also useful for things like crossbows, trebuchets, anything that's like machinery.
One of the first D&D games I think I ever played in, we ended up finding a crashed spacecraft. That really confused the hell out of me when I was 12.
Is that the...
But how can we have both?
Yeah, I can't remember that. Keep in the Borderlands or something.
I don't
Can't
remember.
remember the official title.
But it ties in
Sure
really
Pat will be
nicely
able to
with
comment.
Thundar the Barbarian and Brave
Exactly,
Star and stuff
exactly.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Some of the imagery in the background are going to have it so that like there's rocky, mountainous scenery and then like ruined skyscraper kind of thing. But just like dotted in and around. Um, that was one of the other elements as well. So we've got yeah, education is like nature, law, tactics, that kind of thing. Training is your physical ones. So as you go through each of these sentences that you create, as you said, quite rightly said, Ben, gives you a couple of points, and it gives you a point in an attribute, and it gives you a point in a skill beneath an attribute, which, as we said earlier, makes it easier for you to roll on that particular activity. But I came up with a few other I was borns the other day in the bath. I was just thinking, I was born from purest evil. Um, why not? And I was born on a strange world because I want there to be
Mm,
like there's the insectoids from another dimension kind of,
yeah.
obviously.
But actually, the whole I was born from pure evil thing doesn't have to be literal truth, does it? It can be a personal belief thing that's not even vaguely true.
Or you could be trying to right the evil that was wrong that made you, and all. Yeah, so the sentences are deliberately um, hazy,
Yeah. My
to give
daughter
you
was
that
just watching
room.
the Buffy episode where they find out that Tara's not actually a demon. And how they spend like a season building up to the idea that
Yeah,
she's a demon and then she turns out not to be.
no,
So that's why that one popped into my head.
yeah, um, yeah. So then you say, the next one is your source, and it's I trust, and it's things like a greater power, the weakness of others, naught but steel, and things like that. So as you go through, you
Power of
start to
friendship.
um,
Sorry, that's Tales from
Mm,
Equestria, isn't
no,
it?
no, sorry, I can't see that one. I've got in the rule of civilization. What is blood? I trust what is blood bought, and stuff like that. So it's kind of, yeah, there's a bit of a metal vibe to
Yeah, yeah.
it. But
Front cover of a 1980s metal album would not look out of place.
absolutely. I figure this the front cover is going to have, because I've got this sword image at the moment that I've let me let me shrink this down. So I'm just covering our faces momentarily. I did this little sword, which I was quite pleased with, just for an intermediate cover. But because I wanted something on the front cover, um, I'm going to ask the artist to draw the hero on the front. She's going to be holding the sword atop like a craggy thing with people fighting off. There's going to be some shattered moon mutants to one side, then Grindel bagfolk the other side, and then the
Yeah.
insectoid invaders are going to be coming through like a gap in the sky, like above, like a looming threat in the distance, and it's going to be like, like grimdark. So
And
yeah,
then Jack Black bursts out and
yeah, yeah,
starts singing about it. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think I just touched the wire again. Sorry, anyone who's cowering on the floor with bleeding ears. I'm not sure if it did. It just went really red on my like full, not green, yellow, and red, just red. So yeah,
I think that does coincide when the sound goes a bit funny on my end.
okay. Well, we shall see. We shall see. Anyone watching, please let us know if you're having sound quality issues. There's not a lot I can do about it, but at least I'll know about it.
Even less we can do about the looks quality issues, unfortunately.
Yeah, wow. I can't, can't. There is a button on Zoom actually that says touch up my appearance,
Wow.
which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, and you can do a background, a green screen background without a green screen, which
That's
is
pretty
just
clever.
which is just amazing. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna. I won't do it right now. I was about to go and do it right now, but I won't. I was using one of my maps in the background earlier on while I was testing out the stream. But anyway, so yeah, so I Oh, I didn't hear any bangs. Okay, cool. Thank you, Leon. So no loud bangs. So that's good. So what I've been doing is working on fleshing out each of these steps. So it has 23 possible entries, and you can therefore have nearly 6.5 million possible character combinations, which I think is pretty cool.
That is pretty impressive, especially when you look at it from just coming from a standing point of 23 of each.
Yeah.
And it can be very, very easy to just look at it as one goes with one, goes with one, goes with one, goes with one. But if you then like really blow it out, you've got this huge interconnected web of possible characters.
Yeah, yeah. And my worry was that with only a few options, you would be you'd be sitting in a room with 3 or 4 other people. You'd roll your dice, and 3 of you would end up with the same thing. You know,
I was born to rule a kingdom. Me too, and
yeah,
me.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're all in the thing together. We're trying to figure out who should win. You know, or, you know, it's you know, I think people would like variation between the characters sitting on the table. So it gives that opportunity. What I've realised now as well, Ben, is I'm going to use the same system for monsters.
Well, to create them.
So there will be 5 tables that you roll on to generate monsters. You can obviously pick elements.
I mean, like unique monsters. So you're building like one roll would give you an attack, one roll would give you
where it came from, what I use, you know, and all that kind of thing. So you could like roll it all through, and then there you go, generate a monster that's ready to go. And you know.
So would you have it with like a generic template, and then you bolt those on? So say.
Yes. I would have a
goblins,
template,
for example. If you've got a goblin template and then you add on the 5 rolls to your goblin.
I was thinking more like small beast, large beast, small humanoid, large humanoid. And then you roll on the things and you can go, oh, he's been living in a cave. He uses sharpened sticks. He's covered in dripping blood, you know, and like all those things. And then you go, that's a orc spear bearer, you know, or whatever you want to. And again, you could then generate over 6 million different monsters. Obviously, I've got to come up with that bit. I haven't done that bit yet. But
I don't know. That might be going too far.
Do you think?
I don't know. Because you want like some consistency in your monsters, don't you?
Sure.
But then I suppose if you've got your small humanoids of a certain type are going to be goblins or orcs or sack folk or what have you.
It's just a thought. I'll try it. I'll see what it looks like.
Just don't want to lose your originality.
Sure.
In too much chaos.
That's true. That's true. But in these zine games, I have noticed that there's a lot of tables. It serves 2 functions because it is rules, but it's also setting together, which something to take advantage of. I do want to do some specific monsters, so there will be like there's the bat sack folk of Grindlespire and all that kind of thing, so that you can just pull them out and go, right, here you go. Here's
all right, so you've got your basic monster set, but then you've also got like some bespoke ones that you can throw together.
Yeah, like an expanded thing that allows you to do something a bit funky if you wanted to. Maybe I'll save that as a
so almost like a random monster.
Yeah, random monster
counter
generator.
table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, they should be fighting something right about now, but it's not the big bad guy, and they've encountered the guards. But we've got a bit of a gap here.
There's a monstrous beast. It lives in a cave. It eats toilet paper.
Yeah. Paper and roll. I don't know. We'll play with that as we go.
Yeah.
But so far, I was intending to play test it tonight, but unfortunately, we've had a few people unable to make it. So I thought it'd be good to just have a bit of a chat and potentially show some.
Well, let's make a character. Let's make a character right now.
Oh, blimey!
Yeah,
you've dropped it on me, haven't you? Right,
Yeah.
here we go. Let me get the document up so we can. Let's have a look. Here we go. You got some? Have you got a? Unfortunately, this is original version now, so we're going to be talking single 12-sided dice. I haven't expanded it out to the full thing yet. Here we go. Where are we? Grimdark. Make sure this is the right one. Just a brief pause. Here we go. Okay, let me just get this into the view here. Doing it live here.
Oh wow, he's putting the actual character sheet viewer thing up. That's
pretty
impressive.
Putting the whole thing in. Right, so here we go. This is going to block out my face so we can see your reactions to Grimdark. Okay, Ben, I'm no longer on the screen.
Oh no. Hello, Pete. I am a player who wishes to play Grimdark. How do I generate a character?
Well, Ben. No. Let me read out the little bit first. Meteors fall from the sky. Earthquakes shake the ground. No, anyway. So there's a little intro that gives you a little flavour of the setting, and then this document you can get for free on the Patreon right now. I'll put a link below, but if you wanted to look at it right now, you could Google Garblag Games Grimdark RPG, and it will come up as a free RPG post from last year. So, in order to create a character, it's a 5-step process, and we roll on our 5 tables. Here's all the rules. I'm just showing the viewers all of the rules in the 4-page summary. There's not that many rules, and I've started to expand on things. So what people will see is I'm expanding on some of this, and so it's not fully fleshed out yet. But the first step is to roll your origin. So roll 1d12.
I have rolled a 12.
You were born. I was born beneath a dark star. So you gain all of your stats begin at 1.
Right.
So guile, vigor, occult, power, education, and training all start at 1. However, that gives you +1 to your occult and +1 to the skill weird, which is my favorite skill, which is when there's weird shit going on. You can use that to figure things out. If there's odd carvings on the inside of a cave, eldritch crackling in the air, like tears in time and space, weird is the skill that goes on at that point. And you
spooky kid.
Yeah, and you gain 1 ritual of your choice.
Ooh.
So far, there's only 1 ritual in the rules, but there'll be more.
There'll be more.
Right, next we're going to roll your source. So 1d12.
My source is 5.
5. So I trust my own 2 hands. Yes. So you gain 1 vigor, 1 might, which is a skill under vigor, which is used for doing damage.
Am I supposed to be writing this down?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, that's good.
We will just remember this. And you gain a Dungeoneer's pack.
Ooh.
Yeah, which has got like a torch and rope and stuff in it.
10-foot pole.
One of those. 11-foot pole, Ben. You need an.
No, it'd be a 12-foot pole, wouldn't it?
Oh, true. You need a foot either end. Right. It's a D12.
Yeah.
Right. Next is youth. So let's roll 1d12 on youth.
My youth was spent wanting.
The world taught me a dark truth. +1 to occult and +1 to observe. Kid. So you're observant. At this stage, you gain 1 skill point to allocate as you please.
Ooh.
So you better put that wherever you want it to. Now,
what have I got so far?
You've got weird, might, and observe.
Do have a magic-y thing.
Arcane?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. 1 point in arcane.
Point in arcane, is that casting?
Yes. The next
Not to be
step.
confused with the mage arcane.
No. Going to change that to, yeah, it was called profession, but I've realised I don't want your title to describe your actual profession. You can
Yeah.
afterwards sort of come up with whatever job you actually do, but in title you roll 1d12.
My title is dun, 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 6.
So I am known as Blade Master.
Yeah.
+1 training,
Wow.
+1 prowess, and a weapon of your choice. Ah. And then finally, you roll 1d12 on cause.
My cause is 11.
Aha. So I seek to destroy evil. So you gain +1 power and +1 center, which is they're quite handy for like resisting fear and things like that. So your character was born beneath a dark star, trusts only his 2 hands. The world as a youth taught him a dark truth, and he became known as a Blade Master. Now, on his adventures, he seeks to destroy evil.
That's pretty cool. It's rocking a very much a supernatural vibe there. Seasons 1 to 5. Everything beyond that was a bit rubbish.
Yes, the episode with the car was one of the best things ever. But anyway,
Yeah,
I
that's
just love
that's
that.
rocking a kind of hunter vibe.
Yeah, yeah, that's not bad. So that's character creation. So that gives you all the stats and all the points. Then you'd work out some secondary attributes. You've got your defenses.
But it gives you a sort of build along background as well, which is really good.
Absolutely, that's exactly the point. You want to,
And doesn't require 40 pages of backstory.
no, and then even if you could go off from this if you had a lunchtime or a couple of hours, you wanted to play a game. This takes you 5 minutes to create a character, put your numbers in, but it leaves you with the impression of a bit of a story, and that
Yeah.
maybe you would come back to it. Which, sorry, I'm just looking at the comments now. Which is actually how I'm going to do the advancement as well. So when you advance and you complete an adventure, the adventure, if it's a published one, or your GM will sort of provide you opportunities. What happens? The adventure dictates additional sentences that you can add to your legend, because this whole story is called your legend. So you build your legend at the beginning with those 5 sentences, and then when you get an upgrade, you get, doused it in flame, or took down the evil, or and all these kinds of, you could create all these sentences. Published scenarios, because I'll do some like 1-page and 2-page adventures, will have like some of the options for advancement are, found ruinous power, because you may have found like spell books or arcane glyphs on a wall and read it and deciphered it. You could gain that would allow you to gain 1 in arcane or 1 in weird, or even a spell, for example. So these would be options on the end of the adventure that would add to your. We're getting a few comments in. Leon, I like how it still leaves the player free to interpret a backstory and motivation around it. Absolutely. Yeah. Alex said nice background build, and Leon again said 2 players could roll the same but still come up with a unique. That's very true. I hadn't thought about that, Leon. That's very true. You could. So what I'm trying to do is, as you saw from that little snippet on that rough document, which is one of the older versions that you can get, I'm trying to flesh that out. So there's more options, and it adds to the flavour of the world, the kind of loose setting as well. I think that will help. I think that'll be interesting, and then create these descriptive advances rather than you get 50 experience points. Oh, I'm gonna shuffle around. It's like, here are 5 sentences. You're the wizard character. You could pick from these 3, and you're the rogue character. You can pick from these 2. And they can then say, hang on, I did this other cool thing. Right, let's work together to build a narrative sentence around that advance and a point that you get. So there's the option there.
So it involves the player a lot more in their advances. So what part of the story did you do? It also means that you don't have everybody gets a generic reward. Everybody gets a specialized reward, and then can suggest rewards for other people, for themselves.
I like that.
It's
Someone
probably
write
better
that
if you
down.
get them suggest it for other people. It's got to be a better one.
Yeah.
Oh, I think such and such did. And if you make that for everybody around the table,
yeah, right.
Then you've got the option there.
I'm writing this down.
You write it down, mate.
I am. I mean, we're recording this, so
well, yeah, that too.
I don't need to write it down. But I am going to actually. I'll just come back and I'll make notes later. I'm not going to sit here. People watch me write on my pad. So Eggles just said this kind of descriptive character creation reminds me a little bit of the Cipher system. Now that's the Numenera system, isn't it? I must admit I haven't actually played that.
Me either.
Yeah.
Have we just simultaneously invented something that Monty Cook did first?
Maybe. Who knows? And Fabius Bile has said, is this going to be at Garcon? Maybe. I might run maybe I should run a table of Grimdark.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should. I do want to run Alien as well, though, so maybe.
I think it probably needs a bit more playtesting before this year.
Well, yeah, it does. It needs a bit more playtesting.
Maybe this year could be the playtest.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Bit rough and ready.
Yeah, I think we've had a few people playtest it and comment on the Discord, and I think I know the couple of tweaks that will solve, because it's a rules light system.
Yeah,
I think I know a couple of tweaks that will solve some of the problems. So, and I'm already building that into the version that I want to kickstart later in the year. So that's basically we're going to do a series of videos about Grimdark to try and share with people what it's about, how we've made it, and hopefully get people interested in the game. Yeah, so it's a fun process. I'm enjoying working on it. I've been doing a lot of stuff for put on Drive Through RPG, and a lot of stuff around the Zweihander things, and it's nice to have something a bit, of my own to dig into, and it's cool. Tell the guys about the setting that you came up with, and
okay. Well, I'm not great on system. System has always been my weakest point. I have ideas. I have many ideas. But my falling down point is always system. So when Pete sent me a system that already existed, I took one look at it and I went, I can see how you could apply this in a different context. So I took the Grimdark skeleton and wrapped a Victorian insane asylum around it. And said, and this is how you could play exactly the same game, only stuck inside an asylum in Victorian ages, kind of horror, creepy things in the shadows. big monstrous orderlies coming to throw you into your room. Instead of having titles, we put in different sorts of mental instabilities that the Victorians were fond of labeling people with. Stuff like that. It was a way of playing with what existed and seeing how flexible the system was when applied to other situations. And just seeing it from that angle, you could easily take it and apply the same core rules to pretty much any system you like. You could set it in any time frame, any genre, really.
Yeah. It's good though, because it's still got Victorian insane asylum. It's still a grimdark world.
Well, I think that's what you need to go for. I mean, you could have a grimdark western without too much difficulty. Things coming up out of the mines. We've travelled to this foreign country and started digging holes in the ground. What was down there?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what I have to work on next.
So we've just had a question come in from Alex. I'm going to book my ticket for Garcon. What is the deal with the tables? I've noticed some on the link, but not all mentioned. Is there limited availability on some? So, Alex, thank you very much. Please book your ticket. That'd be awesome. There are all the afternoon tables are on there. So we're having 2 sessions in the day. The afternoon, which will be 12:30 till 4:30, and the evening, which will be 5 till 9. So we put all the afternoon games on there to get some on there and get people in. buy a ticket, and then there's free add-on. You select a table, and there's a limited number of seats per table. But there will be open gaming space and tables for people who want to just come along, join in the atmosphere, bring their own game, and play something. So,
yeah, because
cool.
if we lock down all of the tables in advance, sure, it means that we maybe get to notify people. It doesn't leave much scope for on the door players, and it doesn't leave much scope for people who wanted to get into, say, a specific game, but all the places were locked down straight away. So some places are locked down. There are a couple of open spaces in most games, I think, aren't there?
Yes, yeah. So generally, people have said around 6 players, and I think I've put sort of 4 seats for most of them. 3 or 4 seats for most of them, so that people can book ahead, but then there's a bit of extra space. And I'm sure on the day, if people rock up and it's, I think the challenge is really that the games need to start at a certain time to fit them in. So we're going to try and start all the first games at 12:30 and then all the second games at 5. It's not going to happen, but that's the goal.
It can be done pretty closely. I mean, my experience of con games is that as long as everybody is on the same page with it from the get-go, you can get in, get started, get going, because everybody appreciates that with a con you've only got 2 4-hour slots. You've got to get it in as much as you can.
And even so last year at St Albans Comic Con, where Ben, you ran your Starfinder game, and I ran Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
You did Woofrook, not Zweihander.
We had someone sort of turn up 45 minutes into the game, and they were like, "Oh, you're playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay? I haven't played that in years." And he was with his son. And I said, "Well, come and sit down." They were like, "Oh, no, we're interrupting." I said, "They're about to get into a bar fight. You guys can join in." And it's like, there's room, and we can always accommodate more people. The room can only accommodate so many people. So at the moment, I've opened up 100 tickets. I think it can have seated 150, but that's when they're all nice in orderly rows. So I'm going to pop down there again just to have another double check on the layout, so I can open up more tickets if possible. Because then the good thing is we'll be able to get some more money to Diabetes UK if possible. Alex has said, "That's cool and pretty easy going, but I'm more interested in Woofrup and Alien, just based on what I know. Just didn't want to clash or miss out, but I'm also happy to just be there." Hey, Alex, come along. Book a seat in the Alien game. I'm running that one in the morning, so that'll be fun. Maurice has already booked a seat in that one, so that'll be cool. We're actually running Alien on the channel very soon, so I'm going to be running an Alien campaign. Starts filming on the 2nd of April. Will be on the channel on the 4th of April, and the game I'm running at the convention will be an adjacent scenario. One that viewers of the show will learn a little bit of information about from the show, and then hopefully sort of enjoy that, tie-in at the convention. So,
secret side knowledge.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we? We're talking about your Victorian hellhole.
Yes. Yeah, the loony bin.
Yeah. No, that was really cool. And you were kind of like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a setting for Grimdark. Send it over." And then 2 days later, you're like, "How's this?" I was like, read through it, and the thing was, it looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because you'd just taken it and
changed
all the stuff, and I was like, "Oh, he hasn't done. Ooh, really cool."
Monkeyed around with the trappings and stuff. Took away things like swords and armor, and gave people sharpened spoons and smelling salts,
shivs.
Yeah.
No, very cool, very cool. So I'm keen to try and get the first book kickstarted, and then see if I can do additional add-ons, maybe other settings like a Victorian loony bin, or dungeoneering for Grimdark. D12 generated dungeons, and maybe a card deck with my drawn dungeon sections.
Card decks are fantastic ideas, especially for Kickstarter.
That
who doesn't love a Kickstarted card deck?
Of course.
I just got sucked into another one the other day.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I'm like an addict for Kickstarter card supplement things.
They are nice though, aren't they?
Oh, beautiful, yeah.
The idea of having a nice deck of cards that can, for a particular function. That's and I like the idea of. I mean, various people have done it before. It's not a new idea. A dungeon deck. To like lay out certain things.
Yeah.
That could be quite fun. Um, but
I experimented once with a deck of cards in place of dice
mhm,
for a setting, but obviously it worked out, but I think it was the story that carried it rather than the deck of hands. But again, it was a very Victorian model, so
okay.
having everybody sat at the table with their cards going, well, in that case,
Yes, I think you'll find the king is yeah.
but I love that idea as well, using sort of alternative randomization methods, or even with a deck of cards, it's not quite as random because if you particularly want to succeed at one thing, you could play a better card,
Yes.
but then you're left with a more
Yeah.
limited pool in your hand. So I love that sort of idea.
Have you ever played Malifaux?
I have not.
It's a tabletop skirmish game. So it's like you buy a crew and you get like 10 to 15 miniatures, and you don't use dice. You do cards, and you have your deck and you draw cards to like roll dice effectively.
Okay.
Boom. But you have a cheat hand. So if you pull a card that you don't like, you can go, I'm going to cheat, whack, and supersede it, which is pretty cool. But you run out of those cards.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, yeah, that's quite an interesting mechanic. There's actually Into the Breach, I think it's called, which is a role-playing game based on that skirmish game. Correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, in the comments below. But yeah, so alternative things like that are pretty cool.
Deadlands work on like a poker-based system.
Yes, when you created your character originally, I don't think it does anymore because it's Savage Worlds system. But originally, you draw cards for all your stats. But after that, was it dice? Yeah, it was dice. It was dice. Because then I think the Savage Worlds system kind of spawned from the original Deadlands. You then each of your stats had a die, and that was because you've drawn I've got a king of whatever, and I've got this of that, and Nicholas, hello, welcome to the stream. Why wasn't I notified about this stream? He said, well, it was on Facebook and Twitter, so you were. He said, everyone remember to close the chat for just one moment to hit like at some point. Thank you, Nicholas. You're a star.
It's a very important consideration.
It is. We've got 7 viewers, but only 3 likes. That seems out of balance slightly, doesn't it?
To the click farm.
Yeah. Yeah, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.
And a big shout out to our patron Russian bot 774.
Yes. Oh, we hit 50 patrons, which was a nice moment the other day. Getting to that, so that's pretty cool. And we've consistently for the last few months not lost any patrons. I think we may have lost 1 patron, but over 3 or 4 months it's been pretty stable, which is cool. Although we have just finished season 3 of Flint and Steel, our Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay show, so they're probably all about to leave.
No, you just want to tease them. Throw in like a little 20-minute one shot. Oh yes, you don't want to leave just yet.
Yeah.
Flint and Steel.
Next week we're having a live Ask Me Anything session with the Flint and Steel cast. So if you're watching now and you're a big Flint and Steel fan, or if you're watching later, then please join us on the 12th of March, just checking the date, for a Flint and Steel session. We're trying to see if we can get Alvin back in the room. Obviously, we can't bring back the halfling for this one.
Hey, sorry. I got a hashtag. I'm okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Nicholas has put, it is him. I think he's referring to him over here. Yes. It's Gunter Seuss.
Gunter Seuss. Nah, mate, you don't understand. You're doing it all wrong.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Don't
That
put
was a
that
lot of
there.
fun.
I'll nick it.
Yeah, that was really cool when you came back over and you
Yeah.
got into the finale of season two. Was it season? Yeah, season two.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've been watching season three, where they've just had a big battle in the mountains on the way.
I haven't had a chance to watch season 3. No, I haven't had much time.
Yeah, it's well, being a teacher, I'm kind of snowed under, but yeah, he is talking about you. He's just said so. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I've
No,
been
well,
trying to work on my own settings and systems and stuff at night, and being a sort of I'm going to actually produce things kind of person.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's easy to get distracted, though, isn't it? It's like
Mm.
oh,
Well, I find if I'm writing, I can't even listen to something in a language that I speak
yeah, yeah. You just end
because
up
it
typing the
gets in the
words
way.
into the
Yeah.
into. Yeah, it is fun,
Now,
isn't
every
it?
so often, I'll be working on something, and like my wife or my kids will come in and they'll look at me like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, I don't know, Viking folk music.
Yeah. The
That works
guys,
quite
so
well.
the guys are just saying that the battle in the finale of season three was epic.
Is that the one with the griffin?
It's a wyvern.
Wyvern. I
Yeah,
knew it was something big and scary.
yeah, yeah. And we had a new camera set up. We've got a handy cam on a tripod to move around the table, so it's not just one fixed view, kind of far away. We got it right in there with some of the miniatures and stuff, so it's really cool. A spectacular battle in the mountains. Thank you, Eggle. It was a lot of fun. Um, yes, so we're going to have that AMA next week. So that's going to be good. And hopefully, everyone watching now will come and join us again and ask really difficult questions. There will be a period of time when I have to pop inside my house to help my wife put the kids to bed. But that'll be like a 20-minute gap where they get to ask all the questions about me that they want to of the cast, and how much they all enjoy annoying me and what they do to annoy me and all that kind of
It's the
stuff.
job of players, though,
Oh,
isn't it?
of
I mean, be
course, of
fair.
course, of course.
You know what you're getting.
Oh yes, oh yes. Oh yeah, no, that's going to be a lot of fun as well. And then hopefully soon we will do a one shot of Grimdark. I'm trying to do a slightly abstracted movement system. So instead of sort of counting squares, it's like the Star Wars Fantasy Flight games and
It's the circle thing,
Best
isn't
Left
it?
Buried.
With the circle initiative
That's
counter.
the initiative counter, but movement is kind of zones. So you have like a room as a zone or a corridor as a zone. So you're in one zone, and then you can move to another zone, and that takes you a certain amount of top ticks around the clock effectively. And the initiative dial, which I've since been told is very similar to Scion, you start off with an initial position based on whether you're surprised or not, rolling some dice to see where you start, and then as you all have to declare what your next action is going to be when you complete your action. So you say, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot my bow." Right. Well, that takes three. Initiative count of three. 1, 2, 3. So you'll shoot your bow on that number. Once we get to it, you shoot
And hey,
your
you know what
bow.
clocks have got in common with D12s?
I know, it's funny that, isn't it? It's like just perfect. It's like um yeah. So you get to your count, shoot the bow, and then you say to the character, right, what's your next action going to be? And you have to, and if it's soon enough, such a small action that you do it before the next character, you get to do your next action as well. Like, oh, I'm going to move into the next zone, or I'm going to reload my bow. That might be a one count on initiative. And so it's kind of, you go around this wheel, and it's trying to replicate kind of the dynamic element of combat.
Yeah, it will
And
make things a lot more fluid.
yeah, yeah, I think it'll take people a while to get it. That will be the initial bit, but I think once they get it, they'll quite
Yeah.
like it, and it'll kind of flow. And I think sort of being able to have particular markers for different characters uh, on the wheel will make it easier as well. But yeah, then I'm going to draw some nice little battle mats for it, so that we can have little dungeon bound adventures with Grimdark, which I think would be lots of fun.
And make stretch goals.
Yeah, I've already got some ideas for stretch goals. But I've got some adventures to give away, already that can be found on Drive Through RPG, and they're kind of system generic things, so they can be a free stretch goal or add-on. That's probably more likely. But I was thinking 1 or 2 page adventures as add-on, stretch goals, and then potentially talking about more rules and more spells and all that kind of stuff. More monsters, you can give away those kind of PDF elements.
One thing that does occur to me is with the ritual magic thing and your random table thing. There's an element there that needs to be explored in a little bit more depth. I mean, this is just the beginnings of the idea.
Cool.
But I think with the ritual magic thing, you can have the option for a number of criteria, and then you add them together in different ways to build different ritual types.
I like it. So you learn ritual components.
Yes, exactly. So say you learnt the ritual component nature.
Yeah.
Almost like arts and realms in Changeling.
Okay.
Have you ever played Changeling?
A very long time ago. I don't really remember.
Yeah, it's a White Wolf thing, but the thing that they did in Changeling that was different, you know how each of their major 5 things they had something slightly different in.
Yep.
The thing that was clever and different in Changeling was that you learnt arts and realms. So you might have the power to do a thing, but if you didn't have the power to affect a different thing, you couldn't do that on that.
Oh, okay.
You had to have both of those things.
Right, I can manipulate this, but I can't impact those.
Like mage spheres, only split in half.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you had the power to affect nature, but not the power to affect people, and you cast a spell of fire, you'd burn the trees down, and the people would be unharmed.
Okay. Cool. Interesting.
So something like that could work.
As you're saying it, though, also popping into my head is the old FTL computer game Dungeon Master, where you had glyphs that were different bits that you'd click and build up a spell.
Yeah.
Not knowing if it was going to do anything, and then release. And each of those glyphs would be, movement. One would be air, one would be fire, but you'd have other things like stamina, and all these other kind of concepts.
Yeah.
Nicholas has said, this suggestion reminds me of the magic system in Two Worlds, which is an Xbox and PC game, where stacking magic cards made sometimes unpredictable spells. I like this kind of idea.
It's good to have that sort of thing in a magic system, because magic does need to have an element of unpredictability to it.
Yeah. No,
magic should always come with a cost, and there should always be a risk. It's always a gamble.
All the spells in my game will require you to either lose vitality or suffer peril.
Yeah.
So you'll be calling upon, basically there are 3 types of magic. You've got prayers, which are the least powerful but the least costly. You've got rituals, which take a long time and are a bit costly, and then you've got spells, which are you're calling on dark stuff here. You're trying to tear apart fabric of space and time and do kind of impossible things. So you're going to attract the attention of something nasty. A bit like the Warhammer world with the warp and chaos and all that kind of thing, but a bit of a Cthulhu feel to it as well, where there's something beyond, that you're kind of drawing attention to.
I wrote a magic system for a LARP once that never ended up happening. It was supposed to be the sequel LARP after I'd learned all the lessons from the first one that I got wrong. And the magic system in that relied on words of power. So there were only sort of 20 words of power, and you could combine them in different ways to get different effects. So you might have the word of power self and the word of power heal, in which case you could heal yourself. That'd be all you could do. You might then learn the word of power harm, in which case, well done, you can harm yourself. Not a great power.
Sure.
But then you learn the word for other, and suddenly you get a lot more utility.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think there may be a certain number of realms or spheres, or we might have to have 12 of these things.
You might need 23.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 23. Oh yeah, yeah. There we go. It's 12 or 23. They're the two magic numbers of Grimdark.
I think it probably have to be 23 because you can't quite get if you. Well, I suppose no, you could get it into 12 just, but that's if you want a really
No, you're right.
simplified
It would be
system.
very simplified. So yeah, we may have to go with
Whereas
23.
23 gives you a lot more scope.
Definitely.
What
Well,
do
that's
you mean
cool.
you're going to cast the spell Obliviate Space Time here?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it'll be fine. When I say here, I mean here. No, that's not what here means. Yeah, cool. Okay, that's good. I like that. I like that. I think we'll have to have a think about um, kind of spell components, but not in like the traditional. I've got some, you know,
That
componenty
bothers me
things.
about spells. I'm sorry. I think that has a place in ritual. You're
Yep,
quite right.
yep,
There is a place in ritual magic, but I don't feel that spell work should come equipped with like handfuls of little dried herbs. If you're messing
sure.
with the raw fabric of space time, that's sorcerer magic.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not.
exactly. That's
I've got some
sorcery.
cotton
That's
wool
really
and a
the
little
word.
bit of cat.
Yeah, yeah. Rituals. In the one ritual that I created, which is ritual of meteoric iron, you have to have um,
The ritual of banging two bricks together.
a piece of a meteor, which you bang against a weapon, like a metal weapon, for 12 hours. And then you do
Then you have a nap in a dark room with some
yeah,
aspirin.
yeah. Well, this is the thing. You'd have to pay vitality. You'd suffer ringing ears, but the meteoric iron is used up
Be
in
like going to
the
an
thing.
industrial music festival.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Nicholas said, I did something like that once, but it attacked my enemies. Oh, Alex said, summons greater demon by mistake. And Nicholas said, I did something like that, but it attacked my enemies. I'll never forget the first time I meteored a guy when I just expected a big fireball. Cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes magic does give you these pleasant little surprises.
Yeah, and then sometimes, like on Flint and Steel, the miscast. We had an episode where the party had found out that a necromancer was picking up dead bodies and using them to create skeletons. And the Wizard of Light, obviously, they like to fight undead, decided to go in there and take these out. So he went forward, casting a spell of armor on himself, and had a minor miscast, and suffered 8 bleeding conditions, which meant he just like erupted from every orifice with blood. And if he'd passed out, he would have had an 80% chance of dying instantly. It was like intense, and this thing was a
Minor
yeah.
miscast.
Well, the problem with the Woofup system is they don't break a D10, so everything
Yeah.
the lowest thing is a D10. So if you have to roll for it, it's like D10 bleeding conditions, and you're like, seriously, if I rolled a 10, and every turn you lose that many wounds if you're bleeding. And people only have about 13 wounds. So
Yeah.
2 rounds is unconscious, 80% chance of dead. It was like, no. So I made a rule that I said, right, D5, just half it. That's not hard to do. But yeah. Yeah, I agree, magic should have an unpredictability and a cost, definitely. And very much, hence why we've got vitality and peril
Yeah.
that are going to be the costs. The only other thing I'm thinking about adding, and in a small way, is some talents that allow you to spend vitality to do things, because it's like your stamina. You can
Like a sprint or
exactly, yeah, quick reload, or that kind of thing. You can burn a vitality point to do something, but you're putting yourself at a disadvantage because
combat roll,
yeah, 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 absolutely.
exotic dodge, that kind of thing.
Exotic dodge, we're having that one. Yeah, that's exotic dodge. I'm definitely going to put that in the book now. That's cool. Yeah, so there's Egil, they certainly could have done a bit more with the minor miscast table in Woothrup. Yeah, it's a very mixed bucket. It's like one roll is like all milk nearby, sours, and you're like, yeah, okay, fine.
I'll take that.
And then the next one is
You
you
bleed
turn
to
into a
death.
mutant and bleed to death, or it's like, yes, isn't quite.
Maybe somewhere between the two.
Yeah, there's a major miscast table though. So I
Yeah.
think the bleeding one should be on that one. But anyway,
Especially on that kind of scale. I mean, that's madness.
it's
One
pretty.
bleeding condition for a minor effect, sure.
Yeah,
But 10?
yeah.
Just because of a bad roll?
I know, exactly. It's just that's a bit silly. But hey, that's chaos for you.
Yeah.
Alex, I like the idea of using a magic that is new to character or less experienced and opens up more chance to a corruption. Recently discovered spell carved on the inside of a cave wall. You don't know what it's going to do. Yeah, no, I like it.
The big red button, isn't it? It's the big red button for magic users.
It is the big red button.
You're going to press it because it's there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's
You can make little like hexagonally shaped magic cards then as well and see what happens when you put the spells together.
Oh, I like that. I like that very much. Sorry, I'm just receiving communications. Okay. Right, cool. Anyway, carry on. Just the odd text about the updates of the boys while they're, while she's putting them to bed and stuff. It's always fun. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, hexagonal spell cards.
Little hexagonal spell cards, and then you can plug them together in different ways. So you've almost got like a mnemonic in front of you, but it's an in-character sort of mnemonic type thing because you're visualizing glyph work.
And certain edges have certain symbols that can link together.
Yeah, so if you've got two spell words that link, you put them together and you get a combined effect.
Yeah.
And if you get really good at magic and you pick up loads of different glyphs, you could build yourself a really mega spell that does loads of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But it would be like the study of a lifetime. But it would actually give you a sort of both intrinsic and extrinsic reward for having done so. So the intrinsic reward of having spent your life studying magic is that you understand loads of magic, and the extrinsic reward is that you get to build this beautiful little glyph wall in front of you.
Yeah.
I like the idea that sort of sorcerous magic is visual as well. It's the sort of thing, it's your Doctor Strange visual effects. You don't cast it on the slide because everything you're doing, you're flicking your arms around, you're throwing big circles.
I do say in the rules that spells, you can't hide them. It's like, it's loud, it's bright, it's big, it's bold, it's sorcery. Prayers you can do without people noticing because you are like praying for help. Rituals, obviously, you've got to have like a circle of naked people dancing around with a big fire in the middle. That kind of thing.
I've done a few rituals. I can confirm 100% that happens every time.
Well, you're where I get all my ritual experience from. Alex Moss said, big red corn button. Corn! Blood for the blood god. Oh no, here comes the big angry dude.
Why did we press that? It even said it on it.
We're having a slight issue with some of the streamings of videos right now. Sorry, anybody, if you're experiencing an impact to video quality.
Well, that's what happens when you summon the blood god.
That is true.
You brought it on yourself.
Just the router couldn't handle the chaos warp coursing through the room. Cool. Okay. So there's going to be more coming up soon about Grimdark. We're going to be doing a one shot. May run it at Garcon. May try and film something at Garcon. Maybe a game. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be.
He's got that mad look in his eye.
It's good. Yeah. Everything is
the one that I'm absolutely no help with.
I'm
like, yes, ideas.
Go. I'm like, Ben, we need to get on and stream about Grimdark. So I'll be ready at 9:30. Let's go.
I just had this mental image of poor Sam sitting there like this when she's watching it, going, "They want me to what?"
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But that's probably enough for tonight, I would think, about Grimdark and the game and the chat. And we will leave you all as we're starting to have a few technical issues. And I think it's probably best if I retire for the evening.
Sound idea.
Yes.
Either that, or I've got to go and write Grimdark Gold Rush.
Awesome, awesome. That's a stretch goal. Right there. I like the way we're just planning this Kickstarter on this live stream. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please go and check out all our social media. Check out our Discord as well, where we're talking about all of these things and more. Check out the channel with all of our shows. We've got Flint and Steel, just finished season 3. We've got our current Star Wars FFG show, A Bond Unbroken, which is about 4 crazy Jedi in the middle of the Clone Wars. They've just become Jedi Knights, but they've got stuck on a planet full of droids and they're having to make their way out, which is really cool. I'm about to put up the next episode of that. We finished our Star Wars Fractured Empire show recently, and there's a whole back catalogue. Go and check it out. There's hundreds of videos for you to go and have a look at. So.
And I've nailed down what my mage game is going to look like.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's going to be a heist. The heist game. I'm going to run a mage heist crew.
Oh, wicked.
In London.
Cool. Oh, cool. Very
so we're
cool.
looking for con men.
Yeah.
Muscle
Virtual
thieves.
adept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hackers.
Yeah. Cool. Are you going to do the thing where they get to rewind the clock and go, well, what you don't know is,
yeah,
and like every good heist movie. Have you seen the Rick and Morty heist episode?
I don't like Rick and Morty.
Oh,
but I know it's heresy, but there you go.
Each to their own. But they do a heist episode where it's like a heist within a heist within a heist within a heist. They get a heist con, and in order to go to heist con, you need to have a crew. So then they go around collecting these guys I suddenly once knew, and it's like, Rich Sanchez, you bastard, I'm in, and it's like anyway, it's if you were to watch one because of your heist adventure,
that's the one to watch.
That would be the one to watch. But yes, no, looking forward to that, and that's going to be an online Garblag International show coming soon. We're just recruiting players for that at the moment. So that's cool. And yes, there's all these other wonderful things to go and check out. Also, check out our Patreon if you have enjoyed this and you generally like what we do and watch our videos, then please consider supporting the channel. Everyone who does makes a big difference to us and helps us keep going. Makes me believe I'm not insane in those dark, lonely moments in the night when I'm trying to run this channel. And it's a massive help for the kit and equipment. The microphone. We need to get you one of these microphones.
I'm sure he just said something really nice, but the sound went out just as he said it.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm cursed.
So check that out as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we shall see you soon on Garblag Games. Bye-bye.